Blessings. Wow, that was quick. Blessings. Hey, Shay. Blessings. Overseer, how are you? Thank you for joining us tonight. Shay, I'm doing better. I'm not great, but I'm better. Thanks for asking. Did you have your other procedure? Hey, Sister Tori. You guys are popping on tonight. Thank you for you guys. Oh, on the 20th, okay. Thank you for you guys, those of you who are just like popping right on. We appreciate you. We want to say thank you for your prayers. We've been going through a lot physically, and we want to thank you for counting it not robbery to inbox me or ask my bestie, to check on me and see how I was doing, check on us to see how we're doing. We are grateful for life. God has spared us yet again, and we are forever grateful. So, we have been over the past few weeks when we did come on, my bestie, Apostle Wyatt was going over lessons, Pastor Rivera, going over the 7 emotions. And we've also been talking to you guys about the holiday spirit. And when I say the holiday spirit, meaning from Thanksgiving unto New Year's, every year around this time, we come on and we ask you to check on individuals, not the ones you check up on all the time because you already know what's going on with them, but check on somebody who would at least expect you to call and see if they're all right. Your phone call could save somebody's life, literally. During the holidays, there are many people who have lost loved ones even since the pandemic, but some are still grieving those that they lost during the pandemic. You never know how much one person has an effect on another until that time comes around. And so it's at this time of the year when depression and loneliness and suicidal thoughts, and some people actually follow through on the attempt of taking their lives. And we want to make sure that we're not the reason, meaning it won't be because we didn't reach out. It won't be because we didn't let them know if they didn't have dinner, we could bring them a meal. Some people are used to being around a lot of people, and now everyone they had is gone, and all they have is themselves, and they don't know how to deal with that time of the year. And so you saying, hey, I can bring you by a plate, or did you need me to drop you off somewhere? Anything that would let them know, hey, I'm not in this alone. I know what it feels like, but somebody out there is still yet thinking about me. Somebody is praying for me. That is more important than to these individuals who are still grieving or mourning over lost friends, relatives, meaning it could be a family member, it could be a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, it could be a marriage. Hey, Tika, it could be a marriage, but death is death, grieving is grieving, and mourning is mourning. And so anytime you lose something, it's the death of a thing because it's no longer there. And so how we go about dealing with it is different. And some folk, believe it or not, even today, don't know how to deal with that without harming themselves. So make a point of reaching out to somebody, make a point of being that someone that changed their life. Because they go brag, and guess who called me? Because they just never thought it would be you They're used to certain people, and so when someone new calls, they're happy about it. And you may find like, they might need to vent. Sometimes people just need you to listen. You ain't got to say nothing. Just listen to what they have to say, and that does more for them than anything, to know that this person didn't invite themselves into the advice column. They really understood that I just wanted somebody to listen to me, somebody to hear me. I just said to my bestie the other day, I miss my mom. There are things that I'm going through right now that she would be that go-to. She always made sense of a thing. And while most people feel like that's what I do for them, that's what my mom did for me. And so lately, I just feel like I miss my mom. And so I'm not at the point I was in the very beginnings, when I just rather not be around anymore, because she was that person that made sense of my go through, that person that supported me in everything I did. She made sure she was the first to participate, to let me know that she loved me and she believed in me. And so sometimes, you just I miss her rebuking me, because she was good at that too. I was her daughter, but, I was an apostle, but I was her daughter. And so, and I was able to accept that. Didn't always agree, but I was able to accept it. And so it is now during that time, I lost my eldest sister right after that. Then my bestie lost her mom right after. It was just one thing after another, not able to really get a breath in. We didn't get a chance to exhale. We just had to keep on being there. And so it was a lot, and so then health is a whole nother thing, but we're not going to do that tonight. But tonight we want to talk about frustration. Tonight we want to talk about frustration. And that's something I can almost guarantee that everybody can say, oh, I remember when, or that was just me, or let me tell you about today. For some people, it's an ongoing thing. For others, it happens now and then. Others, it was like, let me tell you about my day today. Shanae says it's been hard for her, on top of other things that are going on, still trying to keep a smile on my face for my kids' sake. I'm here in Jersey alone. And so, Shanae, I call her Shay, but missionary, minister, you got to get used to all the titles now. It is harder for some than others. There are those that it's hard on, and rather than them let people know that they can't handle it all, they would rather die in silence, because that's really what you're doing, because you're internalizing everything. You already know everybody expects you to be strong. So how can you afford to show any level of weakness? And I'm here to tell you, if you don't allow weakness to show up, at some point you're going to die early death. You can't keep on internalizing feelings, worrying about what others are going to think, because those same people have come for you, as far as advice, have look forward to your words of wisdom. And so you have to be able to be transparent enough to say, hey, I need help too sometimes, or I wish somebody would just ask me how I'm doing and mean it. What do I mean by that? Most of us, when we're in church, whether we're at work, whether we're in the streets, we be like, hey, how you doing? And we keep it moving. We don't look to see if they're going to answer. You just assume yes, and they're going to keep it. But they might have turned around and tell you, and you already down the street, because you really didn't want to know. It's just something you're supposed to do when you see somebody. And so it's a real thing, and we have to get better at that, especially in the church, as we're getting closer and closer to his return. We need to find a way to love our brothers and our sisters as Christ so loved the church. We've got to figure it out. We've got to learn to love our neighbors as ourselves, and that's not just the person next door. Anybody that's not living where you at is a neighbor. And so we want to not choose when we want to abide by the world. We don't want by the word. We don't want to have a convenient Lord. We want to have an everlasting Lord with a capital L. We want to make sure that he is the head of our lives. And so no matter what's going on, even in our frustration, we have a responsibility to hold on to that which Christ has commissioned us to do. So, Shanae, I say keep on smiling. Um, the kids are looking at you, but you also have to let them know, hey, missing my sis right now, or missing my uncle right now. Just being able to let them know that you're missing someone. It doesn't make you feel weak just because you say, I miss so and so, but you just don't break down like you have no hope for tomorrow. That defeats us having faith in Christ. We say He's in control and He knows all things and does them well, and it doesn't matter just because it's you this time, because you was telling somebody else this, and now you have to come to that same realization. So during this time of the year, we want to make sure that we let somebody know that they're loved, that they're considered, that they're on somebody else's mind, and that there is somebody that they can reach out to in time of need. A conversation goes a long way. So, again, tonight we are talking about frustration. Not going to be on here long, but I don't want to get into uh, the pattern of hitting and missing, hitting and missing. But health has not done good in my behalf lately, and so we found ourselves off of Facebook more than on. But we want you to know that you are thought about, and that every time I'm not on, I'm beating my own self up, because consistency is a part of who I am and what I expect from other people. So I don't want to ever, in any aspect of my life, become inconsistent. You never know what week might have been the week somebody really needed to hear what you had to say. And so I try to keep that in mind, but I'm also trying to be obedient to my home health aide and bestie with allowing myself to continue to live, because I don't stop. You better not, Pearly. Sorry, y'all, talking to my dog. You trying to see who's gonna win tonight.
Pearly, go eat the food.
Frustration.
No, go eat your food.
So for those of you who are still with me right now, I always do this every time we have a topic. What is frustration to you? What does frustration look like to you? What situation can you best look at how you feel about frustration and share with us tonight? Y'all know me, I don't like to do all of the talking, so come on and give me some conversation about this word, because this is a word that is mentioned more times than not. And sometimes when we should talk about it, we don't. But when it's best not to talk about it, that's when we got a lot to say. But you must know when and how to say anything, because just like you're having a bad day or something, you never know who else is having that bad day. So you might, want to just reconsider how you say things when you say things. So let me hear it, y'all. What you got to say about frustration? Oh my goodness. Would you be so kind? They're under my. Yes, it's funny. Y'all ain't got nothing to say. Y'all lying to me.
That's because they all frustrated.
Don't all jump at once. I have what the definition says. It's under my jacket. Mm-hmm. Thank you. I bet they'll be on soon. Frustration. All right, y'all not saying nothing. I'm gonna keep talking, because other than that, I'm gonna sign off. Um, the feeling of being upset or annoyed. I'm sorry. The feeling of being upset or annoyed, especially because of the inability to change or achieve something. Oh, you wrote. Let's see what Miss Tanasia wrote. MIT. Frustration is an emotion that makes you react quickly more than you respond. That's good. When you can't do something the way you want, or things are not going your way, Or sometimes in a moment something happens and you're ready to scream because it quickly annoyed you. That's a good definition. That's a good It's very close to the actual Oxford dictionary. And so, um, the point that I like in your very first part of the statement is something that we say to you guys all along every day, which is you got to learn how not to react but respond. A lot of times, um, as people say, you speak before you think, and that's a dangerous place. Because for me, I don't like to have to apologize unnecessarily. Because if I said something to you, I truly meant it. I did. Now I can apologize if what I said hurt your feelings, because that may not have been my intention. But I'm of the opinion that you're a liar when you say, "Oh, I just said that because I was mad." Because if it's not in you, it can't come out. What happened was the right opportunity came this time for you to voice yourself. You've been wanting to say it for a long time, but never had the right instance where you felt it was okay. And so you know what you said, and words once spoken can never be retracted. So let's stop saying, "Oh, I just said that because I was mad." No, you said it because you meant it. Because we were mad, it had a harsher impact. But you've been waiting to say that. So frustration is an emotion that makes you react quicker than you respond. So you are um, annoyed and bothered about something that you feel needs to change, but you don't have the ability to make the change come to pass. And you're getting frustrated by the moment because each time that something else goes on and it brings you back to this particular instance in your mind, you're like very annoyed. I don't like I try not to define a word with the word, so I got ready to say frustrated, but annoyed. Very like really upset. So Tanisha said this real good. Um, and when you can't do something the way you want, and that can be good or bad, guys. That could be good or bad, because sometimes you want to do something for somebody, and because you don't have the means that would allow you to do so, it becomes frustrating because you know it's something that they would like. You know it's something that you want to do and have been wanting to do, and every time you think you're able to do it, something else go down, and it keeps you away from that ability, and you just get so. You usually say, "I'm so mad," but it's a part of frustration because um, it's something that I know I can do. I have done for others, so I'm mad because I can't get it together now, And so we yeah, interchangeably use the words frustrated and mad. Or sometimes in a moment something happens and you're ready to scream. I had one of those because it quickly annoyed you. I wanted to scream because it was building. Like, it wasn't something that um, just happened one time. It was something that happened a couple of times, and then something else happened, and it piled on top of that before I got to deal with what happened already, and then something else, and then I just wanted to scream, but realizing that um, that scream would have gave me, and it was gonna give me some relief, but it would not change the fact of what I wanted to do at the time. And y'all can read in between the lines for that. But picking and choosing your battles. Uh, and Shay said, I guess my dog decided I won. She said, I just realized I wasn't, oh, okay. Not being able to accomplish something you set out to do. Not being able to accomplish something that you set out to do. That's what Shay had put on my personal page, and she just realized she was on the wrong page. But she said, not being able to accomplish something you set out to do. I'm sure many of us have that testimony. Many, many. You have these moments, at least I had one this past week, like when I consider my dreams of my younger years and things that I said I was going to do. And it was my, Pearly, come back in here, things that I wanted to do and I was going to accomplish. And then looking at my life now, and I'm like, this is not where I thought I would be at this moment. This is definitely not the life I thought I would be living at this time. I thought that I would be well across the world doing things musically by now. But things came up, situations happened, life started lifing, and here we are. And it's just learning to take our own advice and eat our own words. Like, who says it's too late? There are many people who are saying that, but you have to understand um, the bottom level of the frustration. There were plans and dreams we had, plans and dreams that we shared with others that we were supposed to do together. And now you see one person going, but you don't see the thing happening together. And you'd be like, well, where did I miss it? Because I know, it was something that we said would never change. Um, and that's still me. My children and my bestie and I fuss at each other, but my children fuss all the time because I'm always trying to take somebody with me where I'm going. There were many doors that could have swung wider for me, but I chose to let other people in. And it's true, and I don't think I'll ever stop that because that's just how we are. We feel like we are a door for many people, especially my bestie. So when you have that, I tell my bestie all the time, I don't want God to ever change her heart, because sometimes, you have a heart for people and they just mess you all the way up. And to the point where, you're saying those words, you know what, I'm gonna just ask God to do. No, 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 no. We don't want God to take away your heart because you have the heart of God. And because you have the heart of God, it just hurts even the more because there's nothing that you do to harm anybody. Everything you do is to help somebody, to push somebody. And then when they have the opportunity to share that you were a part of why they got there, your name, they just forgot your letter in the alphabet. Your name just never come up. They name everybody else. Some of the people whom they wouldn't even met if they didn't know you, but they remember them and not you. And so it becomes very frustrating. It becomes very annoying, um, uh, mad. You know, my aunt used to say, "Dogs get. I mean, you get angry, dogs get mad." But you're really hurt and disappointed. That you didn't have to be reminded about what you said, but they seem to forget what they said. And so, yes, it becomes frustrating. Most people don't understand that there's a difference between anger and frustration. Most people put them in the same, but they don't realize. Oh, um, it says anger is a natural response to situations in which we feel offended or wronged, and is usually triggered by external factors like humiliation or illnesses, while frustration is you being dissatisfied with specific situations. So um, we want to be mindful when we are in a frustrated state. Be mindful when you're in a frustrated state because, again, like I said in the very beginnings, just like you're having a bad day, when you go to another place and you give that attitude to someone else, who's to say that that person wasn't having a bad day too? So you can't just come and treat anybody any kind of way and not realize that, hey, they could be, going through what I'm going through, or maybe theirs was even worse. And look at how they're dealing with it as opposed to, because that was me. I had to learn how to control, because I had no filter. And if I wanted to say something, I just said it. But I had to understand that just because you can do a thing doesn't mean you should do a thing. It's a matter of knowing how. And so when you are frustrated, the last thing you're thinking about is how I should say this. Let's just tell the truth. Let's just be real about it. When you're frustrated, consider um, parenting, and you're frustrated, you're upset, your day has been crazy, and then one of the kids come with something simple and you holler, and you wasn't even hollering at them. You were hollering at the culmination of all of those things together, and then that child just happened to be the straw that broke the camel's back. And then you have to find yourself, if you are adult enough, to apologize, to your children or to that child. Let them know, I apologize, that wasn't even for you. Da, da, da. If we as parents and leaders, I guess, too, would be in a place where we were quicker to say, I apologize, than we were to holler, there would be a better line of communication. And then there are those that just don't listen until you holler. Everybody got that one somebody in their family, in their church, at their job, on the corner, in your neighborhood. I'm telling you, everybody's got that one somebody, at least that one somebody. And so when we're dealing with frustration, um, it's just not easy. It's not as easy to calm down as some would make it. You need time to like digest, vomit. And when I say vomit, I'm not talking about literally throwing up, but I'm talking about throwing up the part that didn't even refer to you. Like, a lot of us get upset about a whole statement, and it might have been only one line in the entire statement that was for you. And so we have to learn. I teach people all the time, you have to learn how to eat what's for you and spit what's not. You don't have to hold on to everything that is spoken to you. The quicker you get it out, the quicker you can be healed, because words once spoken can't be retracted. So you'll never forget that it was said. But if you learn how to take words, then you will be in a better state. You will find yourself less frustrated. I didn't say, I just said less, which means that it helps you with that level. Not all the time does it work the same for everybody. I'm not sure why everybody expects that if it only took 5 minutes for me to get over it, that it should have only took you 4. No, because you don't know where each person is mentally. You don't know where each person is emotionally, what they experienced prior to what you saw happen. And so, what we want to do is make sure that we're not the cause of other folks' frustration. Many times we want people to consider our feelings and what we're dealing with right now, but we don't give the same courtesy. We don't give, the same time of grace. You want people to just understand or bear with me, but you don't offer that same. And the word lets us know that if we don't do it for anybody else, then God's not going to do it for us. And if we don't forgive, God won't forgive. It's in the word. It really is. If you would like to read it for all of us, instead of picking the parts out that just get your point across, there are certain things that we just cannot get away from. We will not be able to get around. You can't. Many people go and ask God to forgive them for something they did to somebody. What about the person you did it to? That's who you should have been asking to forget. How you gonna go to God first and the offense is over here? You're gonna go to the one you can't see when the one you could see is right down the road, and you're not willing to go that extra mile. And your word is clear. I'm telling you, if you read all of the Bible, you will find yourself in error if that is what you are doing. You don't want to go backwards. You don't want to have God have to send you all the way back when you could have just did it in the first place. Frustration for some. There are some who are cussers. I'm not about it. I'm not for it. My mom just always told me, if that's the way you got to talk, that means you lack in vocabulary. And so I tried to live that way most of my life. I tried to, train my children up the same way. It shows sometime in one more than the other. But what we want to remember is that although right now we are frustrated, we are annoyed, we are upset about something that we don't have the power to change. You know it needs to be changed, but you don't have the power to change it, and so now you just got to continually deal with it because it won't go away. You want to um, always keep in mind that the next person you run into could be having just as bad a day. That's the safest thing you can do when you're feeling anything other than positive. That way, I'm not picking certain categories. If you're in any mood other than positive, I'll put it that way. So if you're upset, if you're angry, if you're bothered, annoyed, all of those things put together will give you such a ball of frustration. It really will. And we want you to be able to cross another bridge. Cross another bridge. If you don't see one, build one. Build one. Don't let something that has you frustrated cause you something that you will never be able to get back again. Um, Believe it or not, there are some people that just don't bounce back. So you have to consider that. So I gave you Oxford Dictionary's definition of frustration. I also gave you the difference between anger and frustration. How many of you realize that there is more than one type of frustration? As I was reading, I found a good explanation by Connected Family Services. Connected Family Services is where I got this from. It says, what are the two types of frustration? Internal and external. As I read it, I was like, that's so medical terminology. They just uh, have us to go from within to the without. So, internal frustration involves feeling unhappy with some aspect of yourself, whether it is your efforts or behaviors. Hey, Kendra. Internal frustration involves feeling unhappy with some aspect of yourself. That's why I'm repeating it. It says yourself, not anybody else, yourself, whether it is on your efforts or behaviors. While external frustration involves being stressed by something in your external environment. Getting stuck in traffic when you're in a hurry to get to work is the best example you could ever have. That's when you see road rage. Y'all call it road rage. The book says frustration. Um, so there are two types of frustration. Internal, which is it's all about you. It's very personal. Versus external is the things around you that are causing your frustration. You know, some of us, when we talk about internal, and it goes back to what I was saying in the beginning about being there for people during this time of the holiday when they're going through emotionally. This is just one of the worst times when you consider your external environment. You know, uh, when somebody's how do I want to say it? Let me go back. Internal. Internal. I'll leave external alone for a second. Internal. I'm already beating me up about something that didn't work out right, something that didn't reach its perfected state like I wanted it to, not in the type of relationship that you want to be in, um, tired of being in the relationship that you're in. There are things that you internalize, you know, at a time where it's building. And so you're becoming a ball of frustration just from your internal. So this has everything to do with you. That thought that you had that you did not say, that reaction that you did do that you shouldn't have done, the response you could have given but didn't know how. These are still all things that are about you, the individual that you didn't like about yourself at a given time. A given time. So that's the internal. The external is, like this traffic or loud noises or firecrackers when you're trying to go to sleep. sirens when you're trying to relax, all kinds of things that are external, that cause you frustration as well. And so we want to try to take a moment, when things are happening. Like, I know it doesn't work that well for everybody, but try stepping back before you say anything, before you do anything. Just step back and just quickly evaluate the situation and decide whether it's even worth responding. Sometimes it's not worth your response. You're losing more by responding than you do by walking away. The problem I used to have with walking away is it made people feel like they was punking me. And I was saying they better be glad Jesus saved their life. And so um, with each of us, how we deal with frustration is very different. So I can't tell you the way you're dealing with it is just wrong. I could give you some suggestions on better ways to do that. Even in therapy, they don't say, oh, you just dead wrong. They try to help you work through, why you felt it was okay. So many of us find ourselves frustrated. um, if you saw like my little invite when I put up what we were going to be talking about, I talked about the frustration of waiting. The frustration of waiting. Now that's something that's close to my heart, because I find myself saying to God lately, like, what is up? Like, how much longer is this wait going to be? I love you. It does not do anything except intensify my worship because I want to get even closer. But I'm still saying, like such and such, because you send these prophets, and I just don't believe that, they were inaccurate. I believe in their office and in their giftings, and I've seen a lot of their words be manifested. And so, I'll be asking God, like, hey, like, I'm part of those people that's pushing everybody else and prophesying to everybody else, and they coming back and they got these good stories on how God worked it out. And I'm like, oh, I'm so excited with you. And then I go home and be like, God, what's up? Like, how much longer? What am I not doing? Show me what I need to do to make this go faster. And then I'm also reminded that I really shouldn't be asking that, because I want to be able to go through and not have to return to this land again. He said, the enemy that you see now, you see never again no more. I don't, that's me. I don't want to do that. And so I try to be mindful of how I talk to God when I'm asking him questions. They used to tell us never question God. But if you want understanding, you got to ask a question. And so it's a matter of whether you're questioning the power of God or whether you're seeking more knowledge of God concerning your situation. So again, it's about you. Tori says, when I get that way, I yell, but I'm getting better and not yelling as much. That means that you're learning how to cope with things in a different way. And that is always something worth applauding yourself for. I say applaud the small steps. Don't wait for that big one, because it might not ever happen. But if you can applaud yourself during those small steps, you will be able to appreciate the accomplishments. Um, it might not seem exciting to others, but it is to you, because you know, you know, who how you used to be. I'm sorry, the dogs in the house is just having fun with me tonight. Um, and so that's good, Sister Tori, that you even can see the difference, because that matters. When you want to change something, it can change. Now, will it always change to the degree that you would like it to? No, but the fact that it has changed from what it was, you should be able to applaud yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. David had to encourage himself, because sometimes if you wait for people to acknowledge what you're doing, your feelings will be hurt for a very long time. So if you can get used to the fact of being able to say, God, you did that, because I give it to him, even if it happened through a person, because I still thank people for being the vehicle that God used to bring whatever message it was they had for me. And so when you see the difference happening in your life, applaud the small steps, you know, and somebody might not say it to you, but might say it to somebody else. Hey, did you notice that so and so, so and so, doesn't do XYZ anymore, you know? And so it's good when people can see it, but as long as you and God know what's up, I would continue to move on. At one point, you know, because I all of y'all know, those of you who are regulars, you know that I'm a strong advocate for journaling. Journaling is just the best thing that you could just journaling takes the pressure out of, well, the sting out of the pressure, I'll put it that way. Because while you're journaling, the tears are falling, and I tell people all the time, don't wipe your eyes, let your tears fall on those pages, because one day you're going to go back and you're going to be like, I remember when I was here. I remember what I felt like when I was here, you know. And as you're journaling, it's causing you to deal with what's going on, because you can't write about what's going on and feel nothing, because that's why it has you where it had you. So you're able to write about it and start freeing yourself. I tell people, y'all know me. I say, y'all walking around with these living cemeteries. Living cemeteries, meaning that whatever was supposed to be put away and to just be laying dormant or dead, you're walking around with it every day. You get up in the morning and you put frustration on with your clothes. You put disappointment on with your clothes. You put depression on with your clothes. You put low self-esteem on with your clothes. You know, you abandonment. You just get dressed with it every day, and you just so used to it that it's become a part of every garment that you put on, and you just go about your day. And when you're responding or reacting to individuals, it's not even from you the right now. It's you, the living cemetery. That stuff that's making you say what you say, the way you say it, at the force that you say it, you know. And so until you realize that you need to really let it go, not just say it, but like really let it go, your frustration level, I'm telling you, it will decrease. I'm not promising you it's going to go away tomorrow. What I'm telling you is, when you learn how to do something, just like you practice bad habits, practice some good habits. And eventually they will start to overtake you. And you won't have to think about what you should do so often. It will be second nature, because you will have learned a new way of living. Living a frustrated life is just leading you to an early death if you don't ever deal with it. You just keep bringing it on. You just keep taking it in, and you're not ever letting it out. At least with journaling, you bringing it up. You're bringing it up and out, because it's going to be now put to pen. Um, and so I started talking about being frustrated in waiting. Some people are waiting for different things. Um, my bestie is still waiting for me to complete this book, but I did start. I'm even 6 pages in to a book called While I Wait. And it talks about my wait for different aspects in my life, whether it be for a mate, whether it be about a job, whether it be about my salvation, but different things while we wait. People think, as soon as you say while I wait, they think you're talking about a man or a woman. Like, where my husband at? That's not my first priority right now. I'm still waiting for things to be manifested in my life. For therefore, I would be whole by the time the person comes. If that person is to come, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to fall in the category of those who say, God, send me a man, and then a man come, and then you ain't give no specifics, and so you just went with the junk that came. I believe counterfeits come before the real thing. And so um, I have not waited all these years after being a divorcee to go into another um, situation where I'm either not whole, or the person who I am involved with is not whole. But right now, while I wait, I'm waiting for those manifestations, manifestations of the prophetic words that have been given to me over the past few years. Have some of them come true? Oh, yes. Have they been confirmed? Yes. But there are still those that matter most to me that I don't continually speak about, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting. And sometimes it gets tiresome. Sometimes it gets very frustrating because something that I may have been waiting for, I saw it happen for somebody else. And I'm like, God, I'm doing everything that I know to do to get myself in that position, because no matter what's going on in your life, if you're not in the right posture and position, you might miss what God has for you, because when he drops it down there, if you're not in the right place, then it's going to go to that person who took the time to wait. So do I get tired of waiting sometimes? Yeah, but I rather say I'm more frustrated, you know, because I know that it's nothing that I can do. I'm totally relying upon God to make this come to pass. Man can't do it because it's God's word. Man just can't do the stuff that I'm waiting for right now. It has to be God himself. And I will know it because of what it is that I'm waiting for. And so I want to encourage you while you're waiting for whatever the thing is that you might be waiting for right now. You might be that one that's waiting for a mate. Let's not look for Boaz, women, because Boaz died not soon after he married, and I'm not trying to get married to bury, So we want to make sure that we're specific but not crazy, if that makes sense. You know, we have to ready ourselves um, while we're waiting for someone. You have to ready yourself. You have to be willing to evaluate yourself, take inventory of your flaws and all. Of course, whoever it is going to, well, they're supposed to love you no matter what, but you, as we talk about loving the me, I see you have to learn how to get you ready for what you're asking God for. Sometimes we're asking God for something that we are even started the preparation for. We just know we want it, and so we just put it out there in the atmosphere. But in your waiting, whether it be for a mate, whether it be for that promotion on the job, whether it be for the new housing, whether it be, business opportunities or entrepreneurship, whatever it is that you are waiting for, I submit to you that even in your frustration, find time to pray to God about it. Find time. Find time. And while you're talking to God, another thing that many of us have been guilty of is we come in and we get it all off and tell God everything we want, and then we just jump right up. We don't ask him if he wants to say anything. It goes back to what I said in the very beginning. Oh, hey, how you doing, sis? And before they can answer me, I'm already down the road. So did you really want to know how I was feeling? And so I use that as the perfect example. You saying all you lay down there and you give God a half an hour of request. If you remember to say amen. If you remember to say in Jesus' name. I believe in the Trinity, and I still close my prayers in Jesus' name. And so when you say that, you're supposed to lay there and give him an opportunity. You're supposed to wait and see. He may not say nothing at the time, but you'll never know because you never stay down long enough. The answer could have been right there, but because you got up, now you got to wait till the next time. And so when you're in that time, when you're in your most frustrated moments, I implore you to pray. Yeah, pray. Don't go down there. God, did you see what? No. Pray and ask God to deal with you, because a lot of times God is not going to change uh, the situation. He's waiting for you so that he could change you. Some of the things that we get ourselves involved in and then get in trouble. Now you want to come to God when you should have went to God in the beginning and said, "Is this something I should do?" I've been guilty of that. I've never hidden that from my children and anybody else. You learn from your. I don't ever like repeating lessons. I didn't like to have to do makeup tests in school, so I try not to do it now in my spiritual walk. Have I had to? Yes, because I went ahead of time with certain things. And that's why I can tell you it just pays to wait. But the scripture, it was Isaiah 40:31. The day that wait upon the Lord, you know, we gotta wait. Gotta wait, guys. You know, you ever tried microwave food as opposed to cooked food? While you got the same dish, they taste differently because of the type of preparation. And so I just want to submit to you about this frustration. I'm ready for you. Okay. Y'all know me. I love my bestie to say something. Um, we found ourselves, you know, looking at certain things. It's been a very frustrating week for her as well. And that's why I know that she has something to say to you all. I would never not give her that opportunity because maybe that's why. So that you would be able to know that you're not the only one who finds yourself in this place. It's not just you. There are others that are going through it. And even though it looks like nothing bothers certain people, please know that what they've done was found a way to deal with it. Most people, unless I'm saying something, don't know the magnitude of my pain level every day. Or they may not even know that I just don't want to be here today, because, we've just gotten so good at, oh, wait, you know, okay, waited, we've been in this way so long that it's like, I just don't want anybody looking at me and then I'll be the reason why somebody else doesn't get what they need from the Lord because they're looking at me. And if that's what she looked like when she going through, I don't want that. You don't ever want to be the stumbling block for anyone. Even in your frustration, do you know that children are watching you? There was one time when the child said to their parent, "But you're a Christian." Why did they say that? Because they noticed that they were doing something that they tell other people or share with other people about what not to do. And I'm telling you, more people are watching you than you know. And so, even in your frustration, you want to make sure, especially if you're a child of God, even in your frustration, they ought to be able to see Jesus. They ought to be able to see, and it's all about the way you handle things. And they might come up to you and say, "I don't even know how you did that. If it was me, I don't know how I would have been able to, and it's just real. Everybody deals with it differently. I was not always able to deal with it in the way that I do now. And that's why I'm encouraging you because I'm here to let you know that if you wait on the Lord, or if you just continue your prayer life, if you continue to try, God will allow you to see the growth in your life.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys? I don't have a lot to say. Apostle did an awesome job tonight. This has been a frustrating week for me. So, yeah, I can't tell you how to get out of something where I still am. But I will tell you to be encouraged and know that I told them in Bible study tonight that God has the final say of all things. And so we just wait and we trust and we believe that He's going to see us through. Am I discouraged? Absolutely. But I still have to keep pressing because as a leader, that's what I have to do. Even in my discouragements. Blessings to you all. Um, so pray for me as I pray for you. That's the most I can say about frustration because I'm very frustrated, especially here with my landlord. I am very, very frustrated and I'm ready to run. But I guess I just got to stay here and wait the process out. I have never been at a place where I've been this frustrated about something. It's just doing something to my spirit. But you guys pray for me and I'm going to pray for you. And that's all I have to say about frustration tonight.
So as she said, her being right here at that point of frustration. She feels like she doesn't really have much to offer, but she does, because even in the midst of her frustration, she still told y'all to go on.
I ain't cuss nobody out, even
And
though I
we're
felt
not,
like it.
we're not going
I
to
ain't
do
yell at nobody, even though I felt like it.
that.
And
See,
surely
look at it.
I ain't beat nobody up. So they survived because it's more.
So once upon a time, right? That wasn't your testimony. You would
Yeah.
have beat somebody down, you know. And so this is what we want them to know, is that even though we have these titles, we have to make sure we work the title, and the title doesn't work us. And so we do that by not allowing people to think that we're perfect, or that we don't go through things. It's ringing. Oh, that phone's ringing. That we don't go through things just like you, or we're not tested just like you. We really are. We really are. It's a matter of how you choose to deal with it. Hey Don, you would come on at 10:10. I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to sign off. But we just wanted to let you know that even in your frustration, God still loves you. Um, God loves you, and He only wants the best for you. Even in your frustration, try to find some level of positivity. But most of all, try prayer, and just ask God to work on your heart. Ask God to work on your emotions. Ask God to give, because um, Paul kept asking God to remove that thorn from his flesh, and God said, "My grace is sufficient," which means that he had to live with that thorn. It was something that kept him in the presence of God. And all of us have that one something that keeps us coming to God saying, "Please, please, please." And so, as long, this is me, as long as I'm here looking at you and you here looking at me, we both got some stuff we got to get together. If not, he would have taken us out, because when we get to that perfective state, there's no reason for us to still be here. All right. So I love you guys. We love you guys. We believe in you. We trust that God will do that which you have desired of him to do. And we will see you on next week. God say the same. All right. Be blessed. And remember, check on somebody.